like always, whenever I do the ranked games, they're with a 5-minute delay, and the streams are real time, so if you have any questions, feel free to post on the chat, and I will answer them as soon as I look over in that direction. Alright, let's go over that game real quick. Yeah, I got blindsided by a lot of things. One of my friends is like, oh, you were in South 2, you were looking at Toyman's discards, like, you know, really closely, and you forgot to look at Shimocha, and didn't deal into their obvious death hand. And it's like, they got Tenpai with Tanya Dora 3 on the 5th turn. How do you read that? Yeah. Okay. Alright, so let's go over the notes. First one, East 1-0, 13th, 14th turn reach. My roommate is saying that she doesn't have the login to go pay our rent. Hey, Kira. Okay. Sigh. Guess I'll go pay it this month. Alright, back to the game. So, 13th turn, I got into 1 Shanten in this situation. Currently the door is the 7 Sozu, and I can't see... and I can't see how many Dora. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Dora. So none of the reds and 3 of the 7s. So chances are one of these people right here, probably pretty dangerous, maybe even both. And I'm 1 Shanten right now. Do I want to drop this 5 Sozu? 5 Sozu is like not that safe. It's right next to the Dora. I don't see any 5/8s out right now, so this is a pretty dangerous Tsuji tile currently. Both the 5 and the 8 are Shonpai, so yeah, don't want to drop these if I have to. Anyway, the 7s Monzus have just came out, so there's 4 of them forming a wall right here. 3 Monzu has 2 tiles left. And 5 Monzu has, from what I can see, 4 tiles left. So, should I, right here, either drop 5 Sozu and take a little bit better 1 Shanten, or should I drop a 2 Monzu to potentially form a trap weight right here on the 5 Monzu, because it's like Nakasuji, since we can see a wall of the 7s, so I can't be waiting on the 5/8. Plus, this is Tsumogiri, so it doesn't look that suspicious either. And if I do get into Tenpai, only then will I be willing to throw the 5 Sozu. I kind of like the idea. Dropping the 5 at this point, especially if I don't have Tenpai, so dropping the 5 Sozu for, you know, no instant reward seems very risky. Especially since it's like right next to the Dora. I can't see any of the Dora except the one that I have. And the 6 and the 7s are like completely gone from my view. Well, at least 3 of them. 3 of each. So, yeah, I kind of like that. Then, following up on this next turn, one of the 5s came out. But I got to Tenpai, waiting on the 5 Manzu for Richi 1 Dora as dealer. Should I take this wait? The Manzu tiles don't look that bad, all things considered. Like, 7s are all gone, good amount of the 3s. 4s I can't see any of, or I'm sorry, I can see one of. So that's kind of iffy. Same thing with the 6s, I can see 1 right there, but still 3 missing. But is this really that bad of an idea? So if I reach on the 5 Sozu, what safe tiles do people have against me? Honor tiles aside, which are mostly discarded at this point, I got like 1 2-pin, but 1 pin's all dead. 2-pin only has 1 more. 6 Manzu, 2 Manzu, and 1 Sozu. 1 Sozu only has 1 more. 6 Manzu is still out there. 2 Manzu is 2 out there. And whenever I reach, I would be throwing out the 5 Sozu, where 2 Sozu is technically only 1 more. 5 Sozu has 3 more, and the 8 Sozu, even though it's a Suji, it's not that safe, especially since the door is the 7. So if I had a 5, 7, 9 shape and I reach on the 5, that's like pretty expected. So 8 Sozu isn't that safe. So that being said, what are the chances of them running out of safe tiles or potentially wanting to semi-push a 5 Manzu at this point? And then is the prospects of this late turn reach right here as dealer with 1 Dora enough to risk throwing the 5 Sozu? That's a hard question. And the other option, of course, is to just like not throw the 5 Sozu, potentially like throw out. I don't know. Technically, the 4's not safe either, but the 4 Bond's pretty okay. 7 and 1 came out, so I guess I can. Well, actually, I can throw probably the 6 first. I don't know, 6 or 4 Manzu. Break that up. Keep the 5 around and just try to get to Tenpai. Personally, I'm offensive based, and so Tony Kyoku, 1 Dora's dealer with a pretty decent weight, all things considered. I kind of like the reach here. Even though the 5 So is kind of dangerous, if it does pass, then that's pretty good for me. Especially if someone does want to push. Seeing as how potentially useful the 5 is, and how decent it looks to my reach, it doesn't seem like that bad of an option. But I guess that kind of depends. Like, if someone has an Onko right now, then they have other tiles to fold with, that'd be very sad. But if there's, like, you know, still 2 in the wall or something, that'd be great. Even if there was, like, not 2 in the wall, but in someone's hands, and they don't have any other tiles to defend against me, and their value isn't high enough to fight a dealer reach, and they want to defend, then that also might be pretty okay. So yeah, I kind of like the reach there. I guess it just all comes down to how good is the 5? So of the 5 Manzu, 3 of the remaining ones, one of them is the red Dora. That's going to be hard to come out either way. So it's maybe even only like 2 that someone would be willing to push if they did have them. And then any that are left in the wall at this point. All the 7s are dead, which makes it a little bit hard to use, but technically 3 of the 4 Manzus are still alive. So it's not like no one's not using it in their hand either. Dealer Reach does have the benefit of most people probably folding their hands if they have to throw a decently dangerous tile to keep Tenpai. But of course, if they have a Mongon Tenpai or so, especially with like a double-sided weight, they'd probably keep it. Great law. Genuine question. At higher level of play, how much of it is efficiency and how much of it is human psychology and mind games to your advantage? It's a lot about the reads and a lot about the, not really mind games of sort, but more so kind of like logically deducing stuff. But Ho-Oh, which is 7 Dawn and above, the final room in Tenhou, is kind of interesting because it's like the first room where you can actually start to use like a little bit more mind games and psychological stuff effectively, mainly because of the minimum level to actually get in here, which is to say every person that gets into Ho-Oh has a pretty solid foundation in standard like estimated value, efficiency, defense. They know the basics of like statistics of kind of like what is like safer than not. And because that is the case, there is definitely a bit more of a like metagame where people will tend to maybe do certain things that normally you wouldn't by just like efficiency or like EV or statistical standards. Mainly because the people that they're playing against will regard their, I don't know, let's say bad weight reach or something as like something else and react to it in a certain way. So that is definitely prevalent here. But yeah, a lot of it I wouldn't say is not necessarily mind games, but more so kind of like logically deducing like, what is a person going for, what could they be going for, how much could they be going for, and then they grab that and bring it into like that regular play. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like it's not like people just like throw away everything that they have for efficiency and their standard play, but more so they're like getting a lot more information now and making a lot more reads that they couldn't before, and assumptions about their opponents that then they kind of grab back and bring into that giant cycle of like, what should I do? What's up, Pepe? Play Mahjong, please. Oh, this right here, this is reviewing a game. So yeah, I review a game and then I play Mahjong, review a game, play Mahjong, review a game, play Mahjong. Yeah, the reviewing the games is the fun part. And by fun, I mean the painful part. Painfully rip apart how bad I am. Alright, but yeah, personally I kind of like this reach, though. I don't know how it actually would look. So, in this case, if we do look at the people's hands, like, one person's in one Shanten right now, they have the 5. Looking at the save tiles that they actually have, they don't have that many save tiles. And if they did drop something, it is quite possible that they might actually drop the 5. That's kind of cool. This person's case right here, they can, defend with, like, South. They can defend with the 3 Manzu, probably, before they'll hit the 5. For Toyman, their hand is kind of not good enough to fight Dealer Reach, but they can throw out, like, the 2 Manzus and maybe Moashi around. So in this case... So yeah, see, they're trying to potentially get into, like, Tenpai still. Everyone fights really hard in this room. 4 Manzu, that's an interesting push. So why are they willing to throw 4 Manzu there? So 1 Manzu technically only has, like, 1 more. 2 Manzu technically has 2 more from their perspective. It's a very interesting push. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. From my perspective, it doesn't look that good, though. But I guess all things considered, they didn't have many options, and compared to throwing the red 5, they thought that was at least going to hurt less if it does deal in. Plus, if it does pass, they do have another one right there. After that, 5 pin? What? Oh, So at this point, this is like a 1 chance. because they have 3 of the 6s, and I have a 2 out right here. So there's only one more 6 out that they could potentially be waiting on, like the 5-8 wait. Plus, if this one drops, they can potentially move around into a Mahjong Tenpai as well if they get the 3-6, 4-7 right there. Then they got the 6. And at the end, they were willing to risk the 7. Technically, for the same reason that they're willing to risk the 5 right there. Except, yeah. Shonpai at this point, though. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, people love to push in this room. But it's not like, an insane, I'm just going to throw everything push. It's a pretty insanely logical, insanely insane push. Alright, next set of questions. East 1-1, second turn, 11th turn, and 12th turn. Did I mean 1-2? There is no 11th turn and 12th turn here. What is this? Unless I just wrote those down on the wrong one, which is quite possible. Alright, so first off, second turn. What do I drop here? So currently I got 1 block, 2 block, 3, maybe 4 block, 5, 6, maybe 7 block, so got too many cooks in the kitchen. Got too many blocks around. Currently I don't have any completed Mensu right now, or completed like runs of 3 or groups of 3. So probably dropping this doesn't seem that bad. Yeah, probably dropping that doesn't seem that bad. Even if I do drop this, I'm still kind of like Mensu over. Plus I have like 4 pairs, and so I also have a chance at Chitoitsu as well, so yeah, I guess it would be the 1-3 right there, or 1-2 right there. Or I could like, drop the 4, confirm the 2-4-6 Ryankan shape, which is just like double kanchan, so like a 2-4 is like a kanchan, and a 4-6 is a kanchan. So it can take in either like the 3 or the 5. Guess that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus, like, this stuff is a lot more improvable than keeping this around, because I need like a 4, and then I also need a 5 to improve this, so don't think that's that bad. If I draw a 4, technically I could also flirt with the Sanshoku chance as well, but that's kind of iffy. Alright, and then there's no 11th turn. What was I? Yeah, I don't know what the 11th turn is, unless it's like over here. Ah, yeah, this one's kind of cool. So what do I do here? Yeah, I think this is what I was writing down. Alright, so South 2-0. On the 11th turn, in this case, we have 1 person in reach, 1 person who doesn't give a fuck, and Toyman who's also folding. So what do we do against these 2 people? This guy right here is, chugging along, like, Reachy happened, they don't care, they're going to throw anything. Currently, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 of the regular Dora, and 2 of the red Dora. So their hand is pretty garbo as far as Dora is concerned. They only have 1. One of the reasons why this guy is probably potentially pushing is not because they have a really big hand, because we can see all the Dora, so it's highly unlikely. Plus, they don't have Hatsu. They could technically have Haku in their hand, and Honitsu is pretty unlikely with their discards. So their hand's probably pretty cheap, except they're still pushing. The reason why they're probably still pushing is either A, they have like a good weight, and they're in Tenpai, plus they can see the Dora and they know that this person only potentially has red Dora, if anything, so they're not that afraid. So anyway, what should I do here? I got into Tenpai as well, with Ipeiko and a couple Dora. The 5-mon just became Nakasuji for this person right here, which is especially good because if this person is defending, they might deal end to this 5-mon since it became Nakasuji. But in order to do that, I'll have to drop a 6 Sozu, which would potentially give them another safe tile. Plus, this is dangerous for the dealer, but I mean for the Ricci. But considering that I have a 5,200 point Tempai, I don't care. So yeah. 6-so Dama here seemed pretty good to me. If I Ricci, like, the 2-5, actually I have 1-2 right here, but like the 8 and the 5 Manzu is still pretty dangerous to me, so I don't think it would come out. But if I do stay Dama, the 5 has at least a chance of coming out from Toyman, I think. So yeah. Then everything changed when the Haku came. So now I have another chance, which is I could declare Ricci on the 5 Manzu. Wait on the Haku. So, which is better? A Dama on, you know, a nice red 5, or a Ricci on the Haku. The reason I would Ricci on the Haku is because people are defending against this person, right? They might, you know, drop Haku normally anyway, if they do get it, but of course if I keep that with my hand, it's only going to be 2,600. Plus, if I do end up reaching, Haku isn't super bad against 2 Riccis. But the question is, how many safe tiles do they have, or alternatives do they have to defend against both people? So looking at my discard, they will have 2 Sujis to work with. The Sujis of the 6-so, and then when I reach, the Sujis of the 5 Manzu. Currently, we can see just like 2 of the 8s, 3 of the 2 Manzus, so not much there. And then for the 6 Sozu, 1-3 Sozu, still the 6 Sozu itself, and then also a lot of the 9 Sozus as well. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, 2 6 Sozus, because we have one in our hand. Ooh, so which is better here? 5 Manzu or Haku? Shuri says, I don't want to get into a Ricci battle on a pair weight with 2 left. Even consider that 2 left doesn't really tell the story. I will accept 5 Dama. So I guess, like, the biggest thing here is, like, I don't know, what do people have? Like, yeah. Going back in time, this person right here, called pretty early on. They didn't call it the Haku. They could have potentially drawn it later on, but it's highly unlikely. They had, like, 2 draws to do it. So, where does the Haku lie, if it does lie somewhere? So, we can probably assume that they don't have it. They dropped 1, so we can probably assume that they don't have it. So what about Toyman? Well, looking at the discards, since this person's Ricci, so they dropped an 8-so from their hand, which is safe right there. They dropped 1 pin safe tile, 1 pin safe tile. So they could have a Haku. What about the 5 Manzu? In the case of the 5 Manzu, currently we can't see any 3-mon. I'm sorry, we can see 1 3-mon. We can't see any 4. We can't see any 6. We can't see any, or we can see 1 7. So the 5-mon's being used is not just likely, it's highly likely. Even if there is, like, you know, a Nakasuji right here, especially with, like, the 6-so out right now, there's a lot of other choices for this person to defend with. That being said, should we fight? Oh, Dama is, yeah, just close Tempai without reach, without calling reach. Hamda says, I was thinking about that. If he doesn't reach, if he draws 6-mon, he can improve weight by 1 tile. That is true. I can't update or upgrade to a double-sided weight right there. 9-mon isn't exactly safe itself either. Then again, 6-mon isn't as well. So I guess the question is, where do I expect my weights to be, and what is the direction I should take in order to bring them out? I generally like the 5-mon right here, but the problem is that Manzu is pretty expensive as far as like the middle Manzu are concerned. Like, we can't see literally anything on the board from 7 through 3 Manzu, except the one up here, and the rest of them in her hand. Which leads me to believe that, you know, that's pretty heavily used, especially potentially by this person right here, or by this person right here. Especially by this person, considering there are no Manzu drops. So even if we do wait on this, like, 5 Manzu, how many do we actually expect to be left here? Even at this point, normally, like, what is it? So if you have, like, I don't know, let's say 8 Taiyo weight or something. By the 3rd discard, based off the information that you can see on the board, you're basically already expecting that half of your weight, of whatever it's going to be, is going to be either in your opponent's hands or in the dead wall. Because that's just half the tiles at that point. So, if that is the case, then, especially down here, boom, that's what I did in the game. Especially down here, we can't probably expect that many around, but I guess the question is whose hands are they in, and are they willing to pop out? So let's see. So who are the only 2 people I can make a choice here if I do reach? This person and this person. This person's already folding, so they'll continue to fold. This person is dealer, but they're probably going to keep pushing, if I had to guess. The main reason why is because they're already pushing against this, so they felt that a non-dealer reach was, like, you know, insignificant enough that they should push whatever they have right there. Similarly, if I do reach and I throw out a red 5 Manzu, that even gives them more of a reason just to push because, well, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doors that they see. Why should you fold to this new reach if it's like the same as this one over here? Especially if they have a Tenpai and can now get a couple more reachy sticks for it. So, if dealer does reach, chances are they won't try to fold their hand, like specifically. They won't break apart their hand to fold to both of the Richis. Similarly, they're not breaking apart their hand right now against the current reach, and so even if they are holding a 5 Manzu, it's not going to come out of their hand. That being the case, I kind of like the Richi battle here. EV-wise, it's 5,200 points, even on a bad weight. That's still good enough. Plus, the Haku is not that bad. I don't believe that this person has any, most probably. This person probably doesn't have any. Toyman might have any, but if Toyman has some, that might be very good for us, especially if they don't have any tiles that perfectly align between us two, and they might throw it. Aside from that, it's probably in the wall. So if I actually had to guess, like, I don't know, considering the tiles that I see on the field, I would probably actually guess that there's more Haku in the wall than there are 5-mon, mainly because the tiles around 5-mon, we don't see any of them. So it's more likely that people, if they did draw it, they would keep it in their hand, whereas Haku, on the other hand, is pretty unusable, especially since they didn't call it early on and they only had like a couple draws, so Haku doesn't look bad. Yeah, Haku doesn't look bad. Now, how good is my read of that? I have no idea. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Let's find out. So, what are they pushing with? A 4-mon Kanchan? Okay, that's cool. So yeah, this person is just like, you know, pushing with their Haku no Mi, or Chun no Mi. Toyman was folding around their hand. Currently, of the 5-mons, we can see in their hands, one right here, and one right here. There's no 5-mons left in the wall. Similarly, both the Hakus are actually left in the wall. That's cool. Hey, my read was right on that. Whoa. Yeah. All things considered, especially since the tiles that we can see around the 5 are like completely barren on the field, I do kind of like the throwing this in reach. Okay. On to the next question. South 3-0, 7th turn. So, we got a reach right here, and now us. What do we do? So, one thing we can do right here is just do a very hard fold with the 8 Manzu. Another thing we can do right here is do a bit softer fold with the 9 Manzu to potentially keep alive the chance to later push the hand. So right now we got like, if we do throw the 9 Manzu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 Chanten still, so pretty kind of far. Considering all the safe tiles that we do have for South, we have the 8 Manzu. We have a couple of Chun right now, but that's the Dora, and also this over here. So we're not going to be throwing these. So considering that, we technically only have like one solid safe tile for this person. So yeah. Should we throw 8 Mon here, or should we risk a little and go with the 9 Manzu? So the hand itself is pretty far away, but a lot of the tiles that we would need to drop if we... Yeah, a lot of the tiles that we would need to drop if we did want to push this hand forward are kind of almost tiles that we would have to drop anyway if we were to defend against them and not have any more safe tiles in our hand. Of course, if like in the next couple turns we get like, 2 safe tiles somewhere, that'd be great. And if we do drop the 9 Manzu, technically we do have 2 more safe tiles remaining, because the 9 Manzu would be safe for the next turn, presumably. And the 8 Manzu is also safe as well. So do we push right here, or do we turtle up completely? So difficult. I'm in the weird stage right now where it's like transitioning from like absolute logic to I don't know, maybe I should push this on everything logic. So the only ways they're waiting on the the most likely way they're waiting on the 9 Mon is probably with the 7-8 Mon. But that's a pretty early discard for that, but it's not completely unheard of. In the current meta, a lot of people don't like to Sakigiri, mainly because it drops their Ukeiri and their chances that they'll actually get into Senpai in the first place. And so that's why Matagi Suji and pushing on Matagi Suji is like so prevalent in Ho right now. Whereas if you're playing an old guy in a Janso, you probably shouldn't do that, because they love to Sakigiri literally everything. I guess this seems like a reasonable push, or a reasonable semi kind of push. If only because 8 Mon is our only safe tile currently. Plus, next turn if we don't draw any anyway, we're going to have to drop the 9 Mon as well. At which point, same conclusion that we get right now, minus the Ipatsu chance, except then we'd be also down a Shanten and wouldn't have any chance to continue this hand. Plus, if the Chun does happen to come out, especially from the person in Richi, and we do call that, we know they don't have any Dora, at least the regular Dora, so it's not super bad. So yeah, I kind of like the 9 Mon push here. But once again, I'm very offensive-minded in a lot of areas that I probably shouldn't be, so... But yeah, early Matagi 1 chance. If it's early Matagi, that's just by itself, that's one thing. But if it's also a 1 chance, like this early on, and also that's pretty good. Not to mention, even if they wanted to wait on like a Shabo or something, like that's unlikely. Or I mean, sorry, that's impossible. So for like a Tonki, I mean, for another weight, it could only be a Tonki. So yeah, I kind of like the 9-1 push there. Cha-cha. One of the weird things I'm trying to get used to in Ho-Oh is just kind of like, if you try to make a lot of assumptions on, like, I don't know, the discard order that a 4th Dan makes, don't. Mainly because, you know, not all 4th Dans are made the same, and many of them are basically upgraded 3 Dans. So the discard orders can be random, and you might just, like, push yourself into a corner. But once you get to, like, here, it's like, okay, 7 Dons, it's like, well, some 7 Dons are also crazy. Like, straight up crazy. It's like, I look at their discards, and I'm like, what are you doing? But for the most part, people tend to follow, probably actually too much, a lot of, like, efficiency and stuff, and basic development with their hands, which is why, I guess, in Ho, a lot of people try to abuse what they can consider the standard progression of a hand to push the hell out of literally every Orichi possible. And that's basically what I'm doing. Alright. Next up, South. I think South. South, 2-0, 5th turn Chi, and 6th turn. Ah, yeah, this one. So, we have an early Chi right here with a 7-8-9 Manzu from Toyman. And 2 Manzu comes out right now. Should we call that? And I was considering probably yes. Because if we don't call this 2-mon, I think it's going to be really hard to get in the future. Also, it gives us 1 Shanten with open Kawashite, which I guess isn't that bad. So yeah, should we call this? So my reasoning for why the 2-mon might be hard to get in the future is, what is Toyman's Yaku? It could be Yaku High, of which we're in South right now. It could be South. It could be Haku. It could be Hatsu. Yeah, so those 3. They cheat a 9-8 Mon, so they have to have something. And cheating that right there isn't that insane, because it's kind of like a neck. It's calling a Penchon is about the same as like calling a Kanchan. You're trying to call your weak shapes so that you can later on be in Senpai with your strong shapes. So their hand is probably progressing forward. It could technically also move over to like... it could technically be like Konitsu or Itsu, but they discarded like the Chun before anyone else, so that makes that a little bit less likely. Dora is like the 6 Mons though, so like something like Itsu right there wouldn't be that bad, especially if you had like a red 5 that immediately moves up a hand to like 3,900 points. And if they were going for Itsu or something, chances are they might be collecting Manzu tiles from 1 through 9, and then they might be using the 2-mon there. If I ignore the 2-mon right here, it will be 3 more tiles available for that, but it's not like all my options are dead. I could still technically go for Itsu. There's still the other ones that I could potentially draw as well. So, to call this or not to call this? And normally you don't want to call if you don't have a pair, because you'll probably end up waiting on that pair in Tenpai, and that's pretty bad. But if you have a sheep like this, then that's okay. This kind of fulfills the role of having a pair, because it fulfills the role of, if you do get stuck on that in Tenpai, you need to at least have a good weight with it. So yeah. call or not to call? Taking a picture of this real quick. Yeah, I'm very uncertain with most of the things I do in the game. The game is like trying out new stuff, or trying out stuff that kind of seems right with the knowledge or the information that I have, like at that singular point in time. And then afterwards I'll go and look at it and see, okay, was that actually a good idea, or was I just, like, you know, insane or something? Which a lot of the time I'm just insane. Overall, I guess it's not that much different than most Kwashite, especially since I got some slight protection with my own win. And at this point now, okay, things change. Suddenly it's like, oh look, there's Ryaku. They have their own wind. So they got double wind, and oh, what's that? Yep, 4 Dora. So this is a guaranteed Hanuman. Wow. Alright, if they win a guaranteed Hanuman, that's kind of bad for us overall. The question here is that, do we think they're in Tenpai? Do we risk them not being in Tenpai? And what do we do in both cases? So do I think they're in Tenpai? Probably not. Probably not. Generally not. It's really, really early. I mean, not that early, but it's pretty early. They called a con. No, like, pretty dangerous, like, tile swaps from their hand yet. Like, you know, safe tile overflows or anything. And calling con in one Shanten is not unheard of. In fact, it's expected in a lot of cases. Could they be in Tenpai? Yes, yes, they could. Should I risk them being in Tenpai? Maybe. So if they win that hand, that's going to put me in a pickle anyway, because that'll, like, push them pretty far ahead going into South 3, and I'm going to be duking it out for 4th with 3rd place. If I deal into that hand, I'll probably be getting 4th place. So I really want to avoid that, and if I see any hint or anything that even slightly more suggests that, hey, this person's in Tenpai, I should run away using every single thing that I know. Which I do have 2 safe tiles for them right now. So, what do I do here? So if I don't believe they're in Tenpai, I should follow suit with this guy right here, and just be like, yeah, I'm just going to throw it. They also have to push their hand if they're not in Tenpai, because if they win that hand, then, you know, they're in last going to South 3, and that's not looking good for them. Even Dealer might be willing to push this, considering that if they do win that hand, Dealer is suddenly now not in first place anymore. And so if there's, like, no, like, pretty solid, like, indication of, hey, they're in Tenpai, everyone's like, oh crap, I want to win a 1,000 point hand, go quick, go quick. So yeah, I kind of like pushing here until I see something else. Even if that's a tsumogiri of, like, a red 5, you know, or something, that's something else. Same thing. Drop the Dora. Yep, they're just like, I'm going for it. See, tsumogiri, okay, nothing, like, super strange here. That kind of makes sense. Alright. Upgrade my hand here. Now I have, like, 2 various areas I can shut that down with. And then the switch. At this point, right here, boom. Safe tile overflow. Or actually, that might not be a safe tile overflow. Because before this turn... Oh, that's interesting. Before this turn, it was a Shompai, right? Now, it could be a safe tile overflow, or it could be a situation where they're like, I'm looking for a pair, and I'm holding on to this tile because I don't see any of it out there. Oh, 2 of that tile came out. I better switch this tile for the other tile I have. So they actually might not be in Tenpai. But if that is a safe tile overflow, then we should run away. Which is how I read that in the game, and so I ran away. Is that actually a safe tile overflow, though, or is that a, oh, I was going for a pair, but it died switch? If I had to guess, probably the pair and died switch, but... Even if it's, like, I don't know, that's like the extra, like, okay, what if they, like, Tsumogiri a red 5? You should still take that as, okay, you better be really careful, you better run. Yeah. Which is why at that point I'm like, hey, let's run away. Yeah. And then Dealer saved me from eternal death and despair. So was that actually Tenpai right there? Or was that a tile switch? Searching for a pair. I think it's probably searching for a pair. Oh, no, that's Tenpai, yep. I'm glad I ran away. So yeah, holding on to that, draws, switches over. Yep. Yeah. Oh, they had a nice Tenpai, actually. Yeah, that's cool. Anytime there's a hand that can literally give you last place on the field for good, it's like... You can't fold completely here, because if you do, you're going to be in a bad situation. But if you deal into it, you're dead, and so it's a fine line. Dealer Reach there would be fun. Dealer Reach, that would be horrible. Why would they do that? That's like saying, hey, I'm in first place. Like they're also watching for the same sign as me of like, oh, I don't think they're in Tenpai yet. And it's like, if they do reach right there, and they do happen to deal into the guaranteed Hanemon, where they can't see any Dora except the one that they're holding, and so it's like, oh, actually, this could be a Baimon. They'll instantly drop into last place, especially in going, and then if they do deal into last place like that, they'll be last place going into South 3. That's a horrible idea. Yeah. Yeah, maybe in East 2, not South 2. Yeah. Okay. Alright, next question. South 2-2, 6 turn, no call. Actually, let's go South 2-1. My comments were, wah! Alright, so playing through this, enjoying life. Nothing that strange. Hey, this is a little strange. What's going on over here? Chi right there. Okay, that's not insane. Probably Tenhou, considering that they called the 1, 3, and the 4. This call right here, like, if you see a Ryeonman call for a, I don't know, how weird is that? If you see a Ryeonman call for, like, a Tenhou tile, especially, like, if you see, like, 3, 4, and you call, like, a 2-mon or a 5-mon, that's pretty weird. This is slightly less weird, because it's almost like a Kanchan for Tenhou, because, like, you can only take in the 4 Manzu. I'm sorry, the 4, as opposed to the 1. Especially if you have, like, Onkos in your hand, and you just, like, want a quick whatever hand. or if you have like 3 door in your hand, you want a quick whatever hand, it applies to both. So that's not super like red flaggy. I think, at least. Maybe it is. So they proceed to drop a 3-pin, and then they dropped a Haku. Okay. Okay, that's a bit weird. So this right here is like overflow tile, right? Because it came out after the good like 3-pin. But it's pretty early on. And so what an early overflow tile like this usually means is that either A, they had a better overflow tile that they switched out with, which actually there doesn't look to be any. B, it could be that, oh, okay, I'm going to get rid of this overflow tile so that I can fatten up my hand. So like in a fat like 2 or 1 shanten to give myself a better chance of completing the shapes that I do have, which is a lot more likely. Oh, someone followed me. Who's that? Ishikabe! Thanks for the follow! So yeah, that does seem kind of strange, but it doesn't seem like, you know, super out of place. Drops the pay, that's whatever. 4-mon over here, that looks kind of weird. It's like, alright, now we got a 5-pin, a 5-so, and a 4-mon. What is this? Potentially a Junchan? Or it could be close to Tenpai. 6-mon from their hands, not that bad considering they dropped the 3-mon earlier. This was a lone tile, and then they already had something around here. Okay. 6-pin Sumogiri. Yeah, see, they dropped the 2-pin right here from their hand, so that does look like it is going for the end tiles as opposed to in the middle. 7 so Sumogiri, okay. What? And they dropped the 3-mon early, what is that? Yeah. 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 I would believe you if you said that they were in Tenpai. I wouldn't believe you if you said they were waiting on the 2-mon. Normally, like with a called hand and going into mid-game, you're looking for safe tile overflow, which is the point that a person with an open hand has their nice little safe tile, and then they're like, oh, okay, I have Tenpai, I don't need this anymore, and they throw it out. That's a pretty big indication of, hey, this guy is in Tenpai. What can occur some of the time, but pretty rare, is what happened here, which is like, they did that, except it wasn't middle game, it was very early on, which is pretty rare. Like, you don't see that much. Now, the continuous Tsumogiri is a little bit weird, but even for like 1 shanten hands, that's not completely like insane, right? Nothing right here just screams like, oh my god, they're in Tenpai, be careful. So, yeah. And even if they were, and I did consider them in Tenpai, I would be willing to push this 2-mon. Yeah. Yeah. That's harsh. Alright. Next up, 2-2. 6-turn, no call. So, right here, Haku came out. Should I call this? If this was Kobayashi Go, he would say, yes, you should have called this. What are you doing with your life? But should I call this? I didn't want to, because right now we're in South 2. So we still have this turn, another turn, and another turn for me to potentially get out of last. But right now I'm in last place. I have 5,200 point difference between me and third, and 8,200 point difference between me and second. If I do call this, I'm basically confirming 1,000 point hand plus the 600 on the board. And then I got, like, you know, let's see, 2 tiles out there. So if all tiles are equivalent, then technically a 1 out of 6 chance to get the red door as well. Of course, they're not all equivalent because someone would rather drop a, you know, 2 Sozu over, like, a red 5. Oh, I'm sorry, there's only 1 2. I was counting the 8-2, so it's 4 5s I can't see, and then 3 of the 2s, so 1 out of 7. But like I said, people will drop the 2 and the regular 5s over the red 5s, so that's not quite right. So this is basically a 1,600 point hand, which is kind of, I won't say a waste, but it hurts a lot, especially since I have this Formon right here, which is kind of floating, and I could potentially even move over to Tenhou right here. So yeah, I kind of don't want to call that. And if I get to Tenpai on this or this first, even like Ricci has better prospects than just calling this, I think. Of course, someone could win before me, which would be bad. But I'd need a significant enough hand to at least give myself some breathing room once I approach Odas. So I think not calling that is okay. Maybe. Then I got this 5 right here, which is really great. So, do I drop the Formon here? Or do I drop the 4-pin? Now, the Formon is good because I would get a 4, 5, 6, 6, 6 shape, which if I do end up drawing this, I'll be waiting on the 3, the 6, and the Haku that's left, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles. So, borderlines, you know, what is considered a good weight. If, on the other hand, I throw the 4-pin, I also get the chance to draw a 5 Manzu for a Ipeku as well. But if I drop the 4 Mon, keep this around, I also have the chance to, let's say, draw like a 5 or even like a red 5 and upgrade to like Pinfu, Tenhou, whatever. So that's pretty nice as well. And considering that if I don't know, if I do end up with like a Kanchan, that's not that bad, I guess, considering I have like 2 and 8 Mon. But against like a last place Ricci, usually people will Vitality, like straight up. Like, you know, no like, oh, maybe I'll like push this semi-safe Nakasuji here or there. No, they'll just like cut off the air. The exception is the person in 3rd place, who will probably still push. If they have something worth pushing, at least. So yeah, which do I drop? Yeah, I don't know. Take a picture of this, send it out, get some second opinions. Alright. So yeah, in the game I ended up dropping the 4 to leave the chance of switching this hand over to Tenhou alive, as opposed to the immediate chance for the Tenpai with the 5-mon. And then Toyman Richi's! And I also get into Tenpai and magically draw the red Dora. So now I'm in Tenpai as well, and of course I need to push this. I need to fight this, because this is like a golden chance. Plus I have a good weight, 5 tiles still, and yeah. Run. Okay, so next up, South 3-0, 3rd turn, 7th turn, and 9th turn Slim. Okay, yeah, this was kind of fun. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, and I have some potential other shapes to make my last block. What tile do I throw here? So I kind of want to keep the 4 Pinzu around, because even though I may kind of sort of like to lock in the red 5 pin here, I have another door in my hand, and so I'm not going to get rid of the idea of potentially using the 4 pin as my pair and throwing out the 5 pin completely. Especially since I'm really close right now with like 2nd, and 1st is very, very far away. So my fight is not, you know, a long one. So what does that leave now? So now I can either throw the 8 Manzu. I'm going to keep alive the 3, 4, 4, 5 shape, because that's a really good Nakabukure. And then I have another one, which is the 4, 8, 8, 9, but that's not as good. If I get the 9 draw, even though it's like, oh, look, Ipeiko and Dora, that's not good. The 7 is really hard to get right there. Like, I basically need to get lucky enough to draw it. Even if I do get Tenpai with that, like, that's a very, very hard pull. So I want to avoid that shape if at all possible. But of course, if I do drop the 8, I lose the benefit of getting another 7. But considering that I have a couple door in my hand right now, it's not that bad. So what does the 8 Manzu give me? Probably not San. Technically maybe Sanshoku. So I got like 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 blocks right now. If I do draw like a 7 Manzu, maybe. If I draw a 9 Manzu, maybe. Yeah. I guess if I do draw like a 7, I would probably just, go ahead, drop the 4 Sozu. Same thing with the 9, probably. And then if I do happen to get another pair in the 8-9 pin or the 9 or whatever I get here, I'd lock in this Rionmen and keep that other pair. Or, I mean, lock in the pair first so I can potentially use the red Dora. Because that'll probably beat out Sanshoku as far as the value and shape is concerned. So I guess 8 Sozu here is not that bad. Plus, it's not like I could not use a Dora completely later on. For instance, if I do draw a 6 Sozu and later on I draw a Dora, I can just throw out the 4 and then use the Dora instead. So that's not that bad. So yeah, I kind of like throwing out the 8 Sozu here. What do I do in the game? In the game, I'm like, no, I see this, and I'm like, this is beautiful. Can't drop it. Can't lose that 7 Sozu. But I mean, like, 7 right here is really good. But the 9 also isn't that bad. It's basically kind of like drawing a door up, because we have Sanshoku as well. And we could also technically open up the hand with 2,000 points, which is enough to put us into 2nd place, going into South 4, which is really good. Because at that point, it's like, oh, look, even if last place gets a Mangon Sumo or a Hanemon Sumo, we don't die. So yeah, I think I should have probably dropped 8 Suzu there over 8 Manzu. Okay. Next up, 7th turn. Ooh. Oh. 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 Yeah. What do I drop here? So, technically with that draw, I'm now 1 Shanten for any connecting tile on that red 5 right there, or the 2, or this entire Nakabukude shape. So yeah, I should probably just throw the 9 pin right here. Yeah, I should probably just throw the 9 pin right here. In the game itself, I got really locked on to, I think this 8-9 pin is a really good weight, technically, because I have an Onko of the 4 pin right here, which somehow in turns makes 7 pin actually a lot better. I don't exactly know why, but like statistically, you have a lot higher win rate for like a Kanchan or a Penchan if you have an Onko of the Suji of it. I don't know why. It sounds very weird to me. But yeah, so I kind of got locked onto that idea. But no, right here, shape-wise, we should definitely throw the 9 pin. The Kutsuki Tenpai that we can get from everything else is like so much better. The worst is like if we draw like a 3 pin, which would be pretty iffy. But we could technically just ignore that if we want. Or, oh wait, no. What we would do is just throw out the 4 pin and then have 2 Nakabukude shapes. So yeah, that's whatever as well. So yeah, we should 100% throw out the 9 pin here, I think. Now, how did I mess this up in game? I did the worst possible thing you can do. Whee! Throw out the 8 pin. I don't need 1 Shanten. Get out of my life. Yeah. That was a really bad mistake. How bad, you ask? Well, let's find out. Oh look, Tenpai! Aw. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then, next question I had on here, 9 turns slim. So, if we go back to here. Is that the 9th turn? No, right here. So at this point, I'm kind of getting worried about everyone else on the field. And I kind of, like, locked in this shape because I'm an idiot. So at this point, it's like, well, what do I want to do right now? Do I want to keep around this shape, or do I want to slim it down? Slimming it down means getting rid of your potential to potentially improve a certain shape, to keep a safer tile over that. So you're basically, like, you know, lowering the possibilities in your hand, to keep, like, safety for everyone else. So this is like slimming down your hand. So right here, I have a good 4 Manzu, which is safe for both these two, which is the ones I really don't want to deal into right now. And this seems like a decent time to do it. Plus, I technically also have Itsu chance. Even if I draw the 6 right here, I'm still improving it by dropping these, and I can open it up with Itsu Dora. So I think this is a really good slim down tile right here, because it also gives me some potential Yaku I could change over to, and also open up the hand with. Plus, once we get like anywhere in this middle row, this is when we want to start considering slimming down our hands and expecting that at any moment someone could call Richi, or they could already be in Tenpai maybe, or at least one Shanten with like a Dama hand, so be careful. Yeah. Okay. So, last hand, 4th turn, Toyman and Shimocha. Which is the note saying, what are they up to? So, Shimocha called right here. And I'm like, oh my god, what are they doing? I don't know. So, what do they need in order to get past me? They have 1,600 points on the board. So if they win, that covers that already. Plus, if they do like Ron someone, it'll cover an extra 600 points. So for Ron, they could conceivably be only, what is that? 1, 2, so 6,200 points. So if they have a 3,200 point hand, then that's enough to Ron, you know, me basically. Is that enough to Ron first place too? Let's see, the difference between them and first place is 9,800 points. Minus 2,200, so 7,000. Oh, wait. 7,000 points? Oh, no, 7,600. So if they get a 3,900 point Ron, that's enough as well. Ah. So yeah, their go-to strategy right now is if you get a 3,900 point hand and you Ron either of these two people, you get second. Or, I mean, you get third. So how can they do that with that call? If they have, I don't know, Sanshoku or Yakuhai or something, they'll need a couple more Dora. But the Dora is pretty easy to use. It's the 7 Manzu, plus there's 2 red Dora as well out there. So chances are this is like, you know, Dora, and then some type of Yaku, which could be Yakuhai, Itsu, or Sanshoku probably. And in the worst case scenario, it could even be just a Mangan that if they get Sumo, then they'll take me over anyway, and so that's what I'm really worried about. Which is why I'm like, go drop any Yakuhai stuff that they can use. Now, this guy is a little bit weird right here, and for a number of reasons. First off, what is their goal? They just don't want East to win. So how can they do that? For one, they could feed this person, or 2, they could win. So if they start dropping mysterious tiles like this, they could be trying to feed, or they could be advancing their hand. In this case, they advance their hand very quickly. So yeah. Alright, what was Toyman going for? Ta-dun! Sanshoku Dora Dora, 3,900 point hands, aiming for one of us. And if they got the red 5, they could technically... no, they couldn't really. They could get a third Dora, though, and then bump that up to a Mongon, so... They have both those choices there. Sanshoku... that's scary. Yeah, that's scary. And I like how they got this nice Dama Tenpai on the 5th turn. On the west and the 2-bit no less. Okay. So that's all the notes I got for this game. So I'm going to be jumping into another game after this. And I will be seeing you in 5 minutes when the 5-minute delay catches up. So thanks for watching and see you around.